There it goes. This is Ephesians 5:26. That he might sanctify and cleanse it by the washing of water by the word.
Right.
That he might present it to himself a glorious church, not having a spot or a wrinkle, or any such thing, that should be holy and without blemish.
Yeah, so that's where it all begins. It all begins with the elect, the church of the elect, which we are that church. The true church of the Most High. Not these set up establishments, no. We're the church. And this same church is going to pretty much produce righteous children, man. Because they're going to be under the second covenant also. So it starts with the elect washing themselves by the word, ultimately so that our children can be washed away, man, from their sins.
Good precept. This is Romans 11:26. It says, and so all Israel shall be saved. And it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob.
Right, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. Who's Jacob? We're Jacob. We're the Israelites that he died on the cross for.
It's lucky. Vocab Malone is leading. Vocab Malone and David Wood is leading the charge. And I was listening to Apostle Ramla this morning before I come to camp, and he was saying, because you got the you got G consciousness, Cherry Love, and
that demon, man,
and the so-called shit. He calls them the shit squad. they're on the fence. He's saying he's waiting to hear, because the main ones who are leading the charge is Vocab Malone and David Wood, and he came up. There was a documentary on him being interviewed that he attempted to kill his father, and he got sentenced for 10 years, and he got done 5. So he's labelled as a sociopath.
Okay.
So they're calling, it's like the kettle calling the pot black, you know.
Right.
They're saying, how can we get forgiveness, or Cosby get forgiveness on basis of what he did? And they're wicked, but he's a sociopath, a psychopath.
Right. So he's more wicked than all of them.
So it doesn't really make sense. So what he was saying is that he wants to know what side are the others going to take a stand on, because maybe they're a bit hesitant at the moment. They don't want to come. They don't want to come directly against the Israelites, because maybe they don't know what side to go on, because they may be acknowledging that it's a very stupid, slanderous, self-defeating thing to do.
Right.
Even though they're in Christianity. So he's waiting to see what side they're going to take.
Yeah, but you know, though, my brothers call him Agent Rising, man. That's really what he is. He's an agent, man. He set up to really link us up to terrorism, like the elder brother Yashua said, man, when he saw him in person. That's what he set up to do. So the thing with Vocab Malone, now I don't know if he's an agent for certainty. I don't know, but I'm just going based on what I'm seeing. I'm going based on his personality traits. Right, because I know people like Vocab, man. I know his kind of personality.
All right.
You know what I mean? And he's the kind of guy you gotta kind of be wary. You gotta be careful dealing with somebody like that, because they got that mentality. They got that kind of personality where you would think they're real cool with you.
Yep.
But they do some weird shit to you.
Brothers are saying that his demeanor, and I agree with Apostle Ramley. He said the demeanor looks on him now like he's a changed, totally different person, like the real demons come out.
Right.
You know, the facial expression, like to say he's going full against, because first he was gathering information, now he's just coming out and just
he's telling you what he is, what he was anyway. He's an agent. Go on, bro.
His true colors have come out after that whole New Jersey thing. Like his true colors have come out. Before he was going around the camps like in a manner of, I want to debate the scriptures. Because called the apologetics. Apologetics are supposed to be like defenders of the gospel.
Right. That's it.
So he comes in that fashion, man. I just wanna talk about the scriptures. I just wanna debate the scriptures. You know that. You know when your enemy humbles himself.
Yeah.
You know, comes to you like a friend.
Right.
Like he's trying to understand.
Yeah.
But then when that Jersey thing came out, man, the way his true colors came out, because now he's saying, I'll give you 5 reasons why the Hebrew Israelites done it.
Right.
You know?
And don't think that he's doing it because he's hurt by the scriptures. No, he's doing that may be the case. That may be the case, right? But the main reason why he's doing what he's doing, because he's an agent, man. He's an agent for Esau, and his thing is just to pretty much propagate the smear campaign against us. That's what he's there to do. You know?
He spends more time talking about us than he does teaching his own word.
Right. And you know what I'm thinking as well with Vocab, right? And the shit squad or whoever they may be that he's rolling with. they're basically, they don't believe in the scriptures. They're just probably atheists, bunch of atheists, but they're fronting like they do believe, but they don't believe. Because you got them kind of characters too. Where they act as though, and they put this facade on, oh, I'm a Christian, or I'm a Muslim, or whatever the case may be, but they're agents, man. They just may be atheists, or they may be denominational. So that's what I believe as well. I believe that as well. I believe also that vocab don't believe in the scriptures. He's just acting like he does believe. He don't believe. And that bullshit religion called Christianity. Go on, bro.
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and 10. Never trust thy enemy. For like as iron.
That's funny. I wanted somebody to get that scripture. You got it. Go on, bro.
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
Right.
Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him.
Right, like the man went to the apostles, where the apostles were at, right? And they were debating and arguing all night. And then at the end of the argument was done, the debate was done. What did vocab do? He went down before the apostles and bowed down to them. So you thinking in your mind, if you simple, you be thinking in your mind, oh, he's down with us. He kind of agrees with what we're saying. We cool. But let's read this again.
Though he humble himself
and
go crouching,
yep,
yet take good heed and beware of him.
Yet take good heed of him and beware of him, man. Go on.
And thou shalt be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass.
Yep.
And thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether
meaning his wickedness. Go on.
Wiped away.
Yep.
Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place.
Right, lest he overthrow thee. And that's the intent of vocab. And these jokers, man. That's what they're set up to do. They're set up to overthrow the brothers of the truth because they don't want to hear the truth anymore. It hurts them, pricks them to the heart. You know, to be declared and known that you're an Edomite, and because you're an Edomite, you being that nationality is going to lead up to you having to go into slavery and to also experience great future judgment. Because you better believe these guys, man, and the reason why I'm speaking about vocab, because he's an agent, man. That's right. The dude's an agent. That's just what I'm dealing with right now, the spirit. The dude's an agent, man, and he's just there to pretty much merge us in with Islam and trying to link us to terrorism. That's what he's set up to do. Go on, bro.
With vocab alone.
You know what I mean? I don't really give a shit about that character. I'm just talking about him just to make a point, because you have agents that are going to be set up to link us to terrorism, man. Go on, bro.
What you got to keep in mind is that the ultimate intent. What the guys like vocab or the other guy want? They want to see us off the streets, and they ultimately want to see us dead.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Now, vocab. The last time we went up to the apostles, they you know when they ambushed the apostles teaching, they just turned up.
Yeah. Right.
At the end of it, he was like, "Oh, do you guys want? We're going to get something to eat. Do you want to come with us?"
Right.
He said that to the apostles.
Yeah. Right.
And the apostles were like, "No, we're not going to do that."
Because he's simply there to gather information. Yeah. That's why he went to the Chicago camp. That's why he went to the brothers' camp in Texas. That's why he went to the apostles, to simply gather information.
But that shows what a devil this guy is, because he's like, oh yeah, come and get something to eat. It's like he's a friend.
Right.
Now he's turning around saying, I'll give you 5 reasons why the black Hebrew Israelites are
But that goes back to this right here. Let's read that again.
Wow.
Because he bowed his head down, he humbled himself, right? Let's read that again.
Offered to buy them food.
Yeah, offered to buy him food, exactly. I caught that too. Go on.
Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass.
Right.
And thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away.
Exactly. Go on.
Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee,
Go
he
on.
stand up in thy place.
You stand up in thy place, looking to go to pretty much override the truth, subdue the truth, and set up his own bullshit doctrine he's bringing to the table. That's the intent, man. That's the intent. And then these guys, they get mad because you call them Edomites, or you declare the truth to them that they're Edomites, and they saying, well, the Edomites were done away with. I mean, he ain't been saying that in a long time, but I'm just saying, these guys are trying to run away from being Edomites. You had this one pastor, I saw the video that the apostle put up, and you had this old, crusty, decrepit Edomite standing on the pulpit, and he's explaining on how the Arabs are Edomites. Come on, man, like the Arabs can't be Edomites, man. The prophecies don't connect. When you read about Esau when he was born, it said that he came out red all over, likened unto an hairy garment. Meaning he was a red baby. I've never seen a red Arabic baby before. All right, the Ishmaelites, the real look of the Ishmaelites are dark-skinned people. Okay, so how could they be the Edomites? Go on, bro.
If you look at the Saudi Arabian national football team, they're all the players in that football team are all dark-skinned.
Right.
And none of them are red and lepers.
Right, exactly, man. And like the pastor, what he was trying to do, what he was saying was that he was saying that the Arabs, man, they're like a warlike people, and they're very destructive. But when you compare the amount of violence that Esau did in comparison to the people of Ishmael did, you can't compare the two. Do you know, I actually did some research, right, about how many times America went into war. America went into war 200 times, man, beginning in the 1700s all the way down to the current time. 200 times they've been at war. And in the midst of that time, they've probably been at peace for, 5 years? They only had 5 years of peace, but the majority of the time they've been at war. Same thing with the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was the same way.
Saudi Arabia.
The Romans they came on the scene around, the 7th decade. And in the midst of the rule of the Roman Empire, all you had was none but wars. From the time of BC to AD, man. Even from the time when Jake was coming into taking over Rome, they was at war. Even Greece.
Alexander, man, he was killing. It tells you in the Maccabees, man. He just kept killing.
Right.
Killing and killing. And even they were killing so much, they were killing one another. Like when Alexander died, his 4 generals took over, and they were warring among themselves.
Right.
It tells you that in Daniel's 11. Parably, it speaks how the Ptolemies was warring against the Seleucids.
Yeah, the Seleucid dynasty. Yeah.
They were killing one another. So Esau's always been a man of blood.
And the reason why I'm making this statement, because it goes back to the sword that he was blessing. It goes back to the sword. So that's a way how you prove who the Edomites are, man. These guys are trying to get away with being Edomites, but it's clear, man. It all points towards them being Edomites. Go on, bro.
Yeah, just wanted to say, because most of these wars that he was talking about are funded by the Rothschilds anyway.
Right, exactly.
So it's all about profit. These are proxy wars. They're funded.
Right.
And they usually fund both sides of the wars anyway.
Exactly.
So all them wars that are going on in the Middle East, the so-called Middle East, they've started those wars anyway.
Right. And it's funny because when you research when the Illuminati brothers established their doctrine, do you know when you actually look at the history? I believe it was 1776 when Adam Weiss established the Illuminati brothers, right? Around that same time, that's when you had the first war, the first American Revolutionary War, and then the wars just continued on and on and on until the particular moment in time that we're in right now.
And wasn't that the time of the Declaration?
What's that?
Wasn't that the time of the Declaration of Independence as well?
Oh, you're talking about
1776 as well.
Yeah. Keep going, bro.
It's 2nd Ezra's 6 and start of verse 7. So it said, "Then answered I and said, what shall be the part and asunder of time? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth?"
Right, because when you understand something, when you go into the history, you had so many wars in America, man, where you had the Revolutionary War, and then you also had wars that they had with the native Indians in the land, and then you had wars between the French. You even had the wars between even the English as well. Right, so they were fighting each other in the land of America because you had certain European nations that had certain parts of America, and they wanted to take over that state. And this is why they run all the 50 states to this very day. They got those states because of the war. So I want you to go hold what you got, brother. Somebody get me Genesis 27, because the thing with prophecy states that Esau would rule by the sword. The reason why he would get the fatness of the earth because of by that sword. Simply put, give me Genesis 27 and 40.
Can I bring a precept to another one?
Yeah, read that.
It's Habakkuk 2 and 5, and it says, "Yea also, because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, never keepeth a home,
Right.
who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death."
Right, he never keep it at home. Now he's fighting overseas now. as we fast forward to the 21st century, he goes into Baghdad, he goes into Afghanistan, he goes into all of these eastern and terrorists of the world and takes over these lands. Because at first they was fighting within their own land. Now they've traveled outside of the land to fight these other nations. So he is a proud man, right? And he keepeth not at home. And he enlargeth his desire as hell. What is that desire as hell? That one world, new world order. That's why these banking elites, I gotta correct myself, right? That's why they fund these wars, so they can move towards their agenda. What is their agenda? To simply establish a one world system, to strike fear in the nations, thereby all of the nations are subdued under their one world system. By what? The sword. Go on, read that.
And it says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
Right.
Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his?
Right.
How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay.
Right.
Shall they not rise up suddenly, that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booty unto them.
Meaning they're gonna be a spoil. They're gonna be a spoil. And the word thick clay is from the Hebrew word ibakyat, which means debt. And this is why America's in astronomical debt right now. I believe it's 6 trillion. No, it's more than that.
26
trillion now. 26 trillion. Prophecy now. Okay? And it's much, and I think it's much more than that, but they just showing us what they got. But it's in the trillions, man. So they're laden with what you call thick clay, which means the debt. Go on.
And it says, verse 8, it says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee.
Right.
Because of men's blood.
Because of men's blood. That's now we have to stop right there. Let's read that same verse again. That's actual word. Go on, bro.
It said, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee.
Right.
Because of men's blood.
Because of men's blood. Now, hold that, drop that, and get me don't drop it, but hold what you got and get me Isaiah 14. How is the whole hammer cut asunder? Somebody get me that.
I'll get it.
And then, but before you get that precept, I want you to get me the blessing of Esau. Get me Genesis 27, verse 40. Genesis 27. Start with verse 40. Because the Arabs never ruled, the Arabs never dominated the world. Now they had a caliphate. They had an Islamic caliphate where they pursued certain nations to become, so that they can become Muslims. They had that. But Esau had an ongoing caliphate where he conquered the world by his rule with the sword, man. Go on.
Genesis 27, verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father?
Right.
Bless me, even me also, O my father. Yeah. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above.
Right. Read that again. The dew of heaven from above. Read that again.
And Isaac,
the fatness of the earth. Start from there.
behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above.
Why would he dwell in the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven? Simply by dominating the world by the soul, so he can get the best of the earth, the best lands of the earth. Going all the way back to the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire, they got certain parts around, the world that such as it was. Now the Roman Empire didn't rule the entire world, but it had its own world and it dominated certain parts. All right, and those portions of land that they have were great portions of land. So they ruled by the sword to get those portions of lands. And Esau now, the Roman Empire, we're in back all over again, we're in the resurrected form of the Roman Empire. Roman Empire 2.0, the video that we did, right? He's taken and consumed the whole wide world by that same blessing, which is the sword. So I want you to read that again.
Okay.
And then, what would you got?
Straight from
Straight, yep.
Thy
Straight.
dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above.
Right.
And by thy sword thou shalt live.
And by thy focus on these words. Read that again.
And by thy sword shalt thou live.
And by thy sword thou shalt live. That's how Esau was able to withstand. That's how Esau was able to set up and build up his kingdom. That's what they trust in. That's what they rely on. Now, I remember watching this video, and Donald Trump was giving a speech about his military, and you can see the amount of military he had behind him, and he felt proud. He felt strong. He felt like, yeah, he's unstoppable, man. And this is why America was able to do what it did back in the past. Why? Because of the weaponry. They thought, okay, we're an unstoppable nation. We have the best weaponry or technology above everybody else, which they did. Let's keep it real. They did have that, and they have a lot of aircraft carriers at the same time, and they got all kind of weapons, man, that no one has ever seen before. So when you got weapons that can create such great destruction, you're gonna think that you're on top of the world, especially in the 40s. Go on.
Point you made, because I was reading today that I think China now has a greater naval assembly than the US.
Yeah, it's changed because, as the scripture says, the weak. What is it? The scripture says, "Let the weak say that I am strong." So that's happening already. But back in the 40s, now America thought they was on top. They had it all in going, baby boy. Okay, but America still has that pride in them because why? Because of the great sword they possess. They trust in the sword. Let's go back to the point. Let's read that again. All right, brother. You hold that.
This is
That's why he kills. He don't just kill by the sword for no reason. Yeah, he may do it because he like doing it, but he's doing it because he's living by the sword.
Genesis 27 and 40. And by thy sword thou shalt live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck.
Yeah, that's it on that. So yeah, read the precepts you got. I want you to read first and then he can read second, because you have the precept.
So Job 9 and 24 says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, who is he?"
Yeah, so Isaac blessed him with the sword, and that was really through the Spirit of the Lord, so that he can exert his power for a particular moment in time for the season. So it says that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. Now, the Lord allowed him to take the earth so that he can be empowered. It was given unto him. He didn't just steal the earth from the hands of the Most High. That's impossible. No, the Lord allowed him to possess the sword and to rule and live by the sword. Hence is what he's doing right now, thinking that the Most High is right along with him, which he is right to a certain degree. But the Lord is going to be right along with him until he winds up destroying his damn self. That's the bottom line going, brother.
So Revelation 6 and 3, and it says, and when...
Yeah, don't worry about that, brothers, man.
And it says, Revelation 3 and 6, and it says, and when he had opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, "Come and see." And there went out another horse that was red,
right,
and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth.
Right, and key point, power was given thereon to take peace from the earth. There's no peace on this earth right now. Why? Because the man that's red in his presentation is ruling the earth. Ruling what? By the sword. That's why he's taking peace from the earth.
And that, and it says, and that they should kill one another.
And that they shall kill one another. Eventually that's going to take place because you're going to have the Russians fighting up against another major nation such as America. Go on.
And there was given unto him a great sword.
And it was given unto him a great sword. So the Lord blessed him through Isaac to possess that sword. Now am I talking about an actual sword? No. It's symbolic for the weapons that he's going to make up and possess. And to rule by those weapons. Yeah, go on, bro.
You know, what did Isaac say? He came back as Yahweh Shai. He didn't live by the sword.
Shall die by the sword.
So he cursed his own son.
Right. But just by telling Peter that in the spirit. Yeah, so you can read what you got, brother.
And I was just going to say, the elder Yeshua made a point one time. He said, if the Edomites are the Arabs, then why are they the ones getting bombed? You know? They're the ones
They should be the ones doing the bombing.
Yeah.
They should be the ones dropping drones, dropping atomic missiles and all of that. They're not doing that. They're getting blown to smithereens, and they're under the rulership of Esau. So it don't make no sense, man.
The worst thing about that is you got our own people saying that the Arabs are Esau, man.
Well, you know, they're just following the Edomites, man. Because Jake really don't have a mind of their own. A lot of these sheikhs, they just follow Esau. Everything Esau does, these two thirdites, they follow, man. That's why they believe in that nonsense, man.
Because the word sword, I believe it goes. The word sword means a killing instrument.
Right.
So a sword is anything, a knife, a gun, you know, a nuclear missile.
Yeah.
Which that's the you know, because the Lord have given him the power to destroy the whole planet Earth.
Yeah.
Nuclear missiles don't get tested anymore. We spoke about that one time. That nuclear missiles don't get tested anymore because they are too strong.
Yeah.
You know. So the one time that they're gonna get used, man, that'll be the last time.
Exactly. Exactly.
First and the last.
And by Esau, the Lord is going to use Esau to destroy his own setup and to magnify his name. Go on, bro.
This is Isaiah 34:5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven.
Yeah, so the Lord said that my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Let's read that.
Behold,
What verse is it?
verse 5.
In Isaiah 33, right?
34.
Okay, good.
For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea.
Right, so the same man that possesses the sword, that same sword is going to destroy him. Because ultimately the Lord used Esau as an example. A destructive example like that. But the Lord is going to use Esau to destroy himself. Because Esau goes crazy with the technology they got. So if they going crazy already with this finding new ways to, what is it? Pretty much immortality, everlasting life, by this transhumanism nonsense. How much more now when the missile starts to get shot forth? They're going to go crazy, man. To the point where they're going to lose focus and they're going to want to destroy themselves. And they're already losing focus because what made this Edomitic rule so powerful is the fact that they were all together. The EU and NATO, they were all together. Now they're dividing themselves, man, because they get too big-headed because of the sword they possess. Okay? And even at one time, Russia and America, they were cool at one time. Now America thinks that they're better than Russia and vice versa. You know, certain deals are being done which is causing a controversy between the two. So they're losing the focus of pretty much continuing their empire as a whole. Because this is the empire of Esau. But they're not looking at it like that. They're looking at, well, yo, the Russians, man, we have to get out of America. And America's like, we got to get out of Russia because of what's being going on. So they're losing track of what the main thing is. The main thing is upholding your empire. But it's all, again, through the Spirit of the Lord. They don't really know what they're doing. The Most High's pulling the strings. Give me that in Proverbs 21, verse 1, I believe it is, man.
Satan, fair fight against Satan. How should this kingdom stand?
How should the kingdom stand? Exactly.
I've got Isaiah 14 to still.
Yeah, let him get this first, brother. Then you can get the water.
So what's Proverbs 21:1?
I believe it is.
The king's heart is in
That's
the
it right there.
The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, as the rivers of water. He turneth it which river soever he will.
Right, so the sword is going to come down upon the man that was blessed by the sword. Check that out, man. He, like you said, brother, you quoted what Yahushua told Peter. Isaac said, he that liveth by the sword shall die by the sword. So the sword is going to come down on the one that was blessed with the sword. And that ain't no damn Ishmael. That's Esau, the Edomites, man. Go on, bro.
Just back in Isaiah.
Oh, yeah, he had a precept real quick. Yeah, read
Nah,
that.
this is a bit longer than you call for this.
Okay.
So you might want to
All right, yeah, read that there.
So back in Isaiah 34:5, it says, "For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea."
Now, who's Idumea? Idumea is representing the Edomites. Idumea is a Greek way of saying Edom, which goes all the way back to the people that call themselves Europeans, man. Okay, they're what you call the Edomites. And this is something that Angent Rising is trying to escape from. Hoping like hell he ain't an Edomite. Now he's growing a beard all of a sudden. At one time he had a goatee, now he's growing a full beard. That bubble face, F-U-I-C-K, man. F-U-C-K, let's just say that. Go on, bro.
and upon the people of my curse to judgment.
Right, and the people of my curse to judgment. So the sword is going to come down upon the people of his curse. Who are the people of his curse? The Edomites. Go on, bro.
Verse 6, so it says, the sword. Verse 6, the sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of kidneys of rams.
Yeah.
For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah.
Right, for the Lord have a sacrifice in Bozrah, man. In Bozrah right now, you don't have Edomites dwelling in Bozrah right now. Bozrah is representing the cities that are newly made that Esau dwells in right now. Like America, for example. That's the main land that's going to be disintegrated pretty much to nothing. It's going to disintegrate to nothing after those missiles get done blasting that place. That's what it means by Bozrah. Modern day Bozrah is America. Alright, and all we're bringing to you is prophecies. We're not saying that we're going to do this or we're going to do that or whatever the case may be. All we bring to you is prophecies, things that are going to written to take place. Things that are written to take place, excuse me. That's all we're doing, man. We're not threatening nobody. If people want to question what we're teaching, we'll have a debate. But to really be honest with you, we're not really in the time to debate anything. And I personally ain't got time for these people, man. So they could just do what they got to do and have a nice day. I ain't really got time for these people, man. Go on, bro. Because these people ain't going to listen anyway. And they're just going to be put to death. Go on, bro. So it's a waste of time to debate these jokers anyway. Go on, bro.
And a great slaughter in the land of Idumea.
Right, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. Again, going back to America. It's the people that run America are the Idumeans, the Edomites. Okay, you have Edomites behind us and also in front of us. To our left and also to our right.
Enemies on every side.
Right. That's the Edomite right there. Go on, bro. You continue to read that and I wouldn't let him read this book.
Verse 7, and the unicorns shall come down with them, and the bullocks with their bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness.
Right. And their dust made fat with fatness. So the Lord has a sacrifice in that land, America. Now when it says bullocks and goats and all of that, that don't mean literally. That's referring to the people. It's symbolic of the people because back in the ancient world, you would sacrifice goats and lambs to cover your sins. But the people are going to be a sacrifice. That's what that entails. Yes, so read what you got down.
Isaiah 14, I'll start from 5. It says, the Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers.
Right, and what is a staff? A staff is like a stick that keeps you from falling down. If you're an old man, you can't walk correctly. It stabilizes you. So the staff, in other words, meaning his power, is going to be distorted. Go on.
He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke. He that ruled the nations in anger.
Right, he that ruled the nations in anger. Go on.
Is persecuted and none hindereth.
Right, and is persecuted and none hindereth, man. So the staff of the wicked or his power that upholded him is going to be taken off.
Yeah.
Again, so we have to realize what nation has more destructive power. Is it the Ishmaelites or is it the Edomites? You have to do some research on that because you got a bunch of simpletons. They'll just take everybody's word for it. If the Edomite says or anybody says, the Arabs are Edomites. That's just a simpleton, man. They don't do no research. But if you actually do research on these nations, you'll find out who's got the sword, man. Who has the sword. Now the word sword in the Hebrew means, it's a Hebrew word means corrupt, which means to lay waste. Who has the weapons to lay waste cities and destroy? Actually, who came up with these weapons? Edomites did, man. One guy by the name of J. Oppenheimer, and there's another guy too. There's another guy. You got one of them was